Hey, my name's James Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I've got more bad news for leaseholders. Now, in a recent video, I talked about how the Leasehold Reform Act, it's having readings in Parliament, but it doesn't have the backing by the Tory MPs, and it's unlikely that it will pass at the moment unless something major changes. Well, today, there's even more bad news because Labour set out in their campaign in order to win the election that they would abolish leasehold in just 100 days of getting in power. They backtracked on that even before the election. They've changed their mind on that, and I'm going to talk about that and more in this video. So while you're here, if you haven't done already, do subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification. We've got new content, new updates like this every single day on what's going on. If you want to know what's going on with leasehold stuff, this is the most informed channel on YouTube. And while you're here, smash the like button, tickle the like button, do something to that like button. That really helps us with the YouTube algorithm, and that will get more views and get more people aware of what is going on. So please do that now. So Labour have also backtracked. So the Leasehold Reform Act is an act that the Conservatives have been putting through Parliament. It's had a couple of readings now, but what we're hearing is that it doesn't have enough MPs behind it to hopefully get it through that final stage. And that's because a lot of them have either received some sort of funding from big landlords or corporations, or they're landlords themselves. And so that is kind of what a lot of people were expecting to happen. So the Leasehold Reform Act is about reducing the cost of extending a lease. That's one of the main things that a lot of people would benefit from that. So if a lease drops less than 80 years, it drops into something called marriage value. And that means that, let's just draw this out. So let's just say you've got a house that's worth 100 grand, or a flat that's a leasehold that's worth 100 grand. But with a short lease, maybe it's only worth 60 grand. Now, if you extend the lease, it would make it back up to being worth 100 grand. So in the current model, what they do is they look at how much is it worth with a short lease, how much is it worth with a longer lease, and they work out the difference. In this instance, it's 40 grand. So they say that by extending the lease, you're going to benefit by 40 grand in increased value of that property. Now, here's where this next part happens. So the cost of currently renewing that lease is half of the increased value. So in order to increase this scenario, that would cost you £20,000, which is a hell of a lot of money for a lot of people just to extend your lease back up. And you can extend it by 90 years. Now, the Leasehold Reform Act is looking to get rid of that. This is called marriage value. That's one thing that they promise the Tories to get rid of, and Labour are promised to get rid of as well. Now, it's looking that that might not get abolished in total. Now, what you can also do when you extend the lease, you can extend it for 90 years. The Leasehold Reform Act saying that you could extend it to 990 years, which would mean that you wouldn't have to extend it again, your kids wouldn't have to extend it again. It just clearly gets that dealt with for a long period of time, which is really, really positive. Now, one thing that they did pass already was that when you do extend your lease, ground rent gets abolished. In this act, they're trying to make it so ground rent gets abolished for everyone, even if they don't extend the lease. It's also about having more say in service charges, because right now, the management company are legally allowed to make a commission off the insurance and all these things that they extend for you. So what happens is the insurance companies give them great big fat commissions. So they're not incentivized to get you the best deal. They're actually incentivized to get themselves the best commission. And so it doesn't really give us the best deal for our property, which is really, really frustrating for a lot of people. And so there's lots of other benefits. And so the Tories have got the Leasehold Reform Act. That's their version of this. This was announced in the King's Speech. This has been going through Parliament. It's had one reading, it's had two readings, and it's moving through. But the word behind the scenes is they're not going to have enough votes to get this through once all of this happens, like I said, because of a lot of people having a vested interest. They are landlords and stuff like that, or they get support from companies that own big pensions and stuff like that. So that was looking relatively bad. The good news for a lot of leaseholders was that Labour are likely to get into power. They're really doing very well in the polls, and there doesn't seem to be much that the Tories can do in order to get back into that leading position and win the general election. So it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that Labour will get into power at some point by the end of this year. Now, Labour had in their manifesto that they would abolish leasehold in 100 days of getting into power. A lot of people said that's ridiculous, it's unlikely. Even myself, I said that's not likely to happen. We can see with the Tories trying to do it, all of the stumbling blocks that they're coming up against, and Labour would have the same. Also, how would you benefit the freeholders? Because you're effectively stealing something of significant value, maybe millions, just taking it away from them. That's going to get challenged in court again and again and again. So Labour's now backed down. They said they're not going to abolish leasehold within 100 days. So this is more bad news for leaseholders. So is the Conservatives going to pass something before the election? Possibly, but it's going to be watered down. It might not have the marriage value disappeared. It might not have the extension of the terms. It might not have a lot of stuff in there in order to appease the freeholders and the people that fund them, right? That's what we've got to look at here. So Labour's likely to get into power. They've now said that we're not likely to actually pass this in the first 100 days. So they've taken that out of their pledge. And so they're saying that they will still proceed to improve leasehold. But this means that it's probably going to take years, because they'll be starting from the beginning in order for something to actually happen on this matter. So I wanted to update you guys and make you aware of this, because I know that there's lots of people watching videos like this that are hoping that the Tories or Labour will get this passed and through. In fact, on the last update I did on this, there's hundreds of comments said, I'm going to vote Labour. So now Labour have changed their stance on this. Maybe that's something you want to consider, who you are going to vote for, and do some more research on this. As more information comes out, I'll always make sure I update you guys. But if you're waiting to extend your lease because of the promise of the Leasehold Reform Act from the Tories going through, or something similar from Labour going through, just be prepared, right? Just be prepared and make sure that you're not going to be in for a nasty shock. No one can guarantee any of this stuff is going to go through, and it looks like a big backtrack from both parties. But what you can do is you can go to your freeholder with knowledge that this could go through and offer some sort of compromise deal with them, maybe a lower marriage value, saying, look, if this does go through, you're going to get significantly less money here when I do extend. So why don't we meet in the middle? And lots of people I know that have watched this channel, because this leasehold stuff, just on this channel, we've had around 500,000 views on this and thousands of comments. So I know some of you have done that kind of stuff, is use the information here, gone to negotiate with your freeholder, saying, look, this could happen. You might not be able to charge me so much. And also I'd like a 990-year extension. See what compromise you can get. Doesn't hurt to ask. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Labour are actually going to do something with leasehold? Do you think the Tories will get something done prior to the election? Do comment below. Do smash the like button. Do share this video with lots of different people that you know that should be interested in this stuff. And lastly, I want to let you know we're launching a new program next week called the Buy, Refurbish, Refinance Accelerator. That will show you my best property strategy, the one that's made me the most money by a long way. That's where you buy below market value, maybe from an auction, maybe from an off-market deal. You refurbish the property, you refinance that property, and then you rent that property out. I'm going to put a link below so you can join the waiting list just to get notified. There's no commitment by joining that link. Just put your details in. You'll get notified when that launches next week. Plus, I'll give you a discount of at least 80% on that by just joining that waiting list. So join that VIP waiting list while you're here. Do check out some other content on my channel, including this video right here.